Hi, this is Roman, and today I'm going to be going over Unit 7 on circles, Day 27, putting it all together, Part 1, with a focus question of how can we use the properties of circles to solve geometric problems. I'm going to be focusing on slide 14. I really love this question where we ask what the best value of a slice of pizza is, very relatable to all students. And we're given the central angle in degrees and radians, a radius for each, and then a cost per slice. So I would like to introduce a protocol that I think would be very valuable in this question. And that protocol is going to be called the 3 reads protocol. So I'm going to do a brief presentation on what it is and then show the sample. So what is the 3 reads protocol? It supports students as they read closely to make sense of challenging texts. It includes reading a text, and in our case, a problem, 3 different times with a different goal in each time. First read is to understand the context. The second read is to understand the content of the text or problem. And then the third read is to generate a plan for solving the problem. Throughout the protocol, students can apply conversational skills as discussion, and it can be embedded with a partner or a whole group. So what's beneficial for our students? It supports all students by reducing the barriers and providing access to students as they interact with complex texts. And the goal is for students to internalize and apply the strategy on their own whenever they encounter these rigorous texting problems. So New Visions has a lot of 3 reads protocol samples for content that's not math. And in my own experience presenting this to my math department, they loved it. The whole school actually loved it and kind of took off. But you're providing students this pathway towards the learning goal and objective, right? You facilitating engagement with these rigorous problems in text. You really are teaching students to slow down and think independently, and you're able to define the purpose of close reading. So here's the first sample where the first read is comprehension, the second read is analysis, and the third one is connecting to content. And you insert your question in the middle here. And that's a sample. I feel like all of us as teachers have probably done this where we read a question out loud and then we ask students to reread that question silently. And the only adaptation here or something new might be the partnered reading with the goal of solving the question in that third part. So this one, or the last modification, would have vocabulary be the first read, and then the second read be the main idea, and then the third read be comprehension. And this is really the template that I was following for math. I made a very generic math template, and I'm going to be sharing that with you guys. And here's a sample of how it connects to the hallmarks of literacy, right? We are providing students with the ability to work with a variety of texts. There is discussion built in to build language and knowledge. There are writing activities to build language and knowledge. And we are focusing on a small set of high utility vocabulary words to build breadth and depth of knowledge. So how can this possibly be aligned to your school's instructional focus? It can be differentiated. It provides a rigorous task. It develops critical thinking skill, and it really provides that college readiness aspect with respect to slowing things down. So here is my sample of my 3 reads activity, and I've really made it with a focus of math. You see my pizza question here in the middle. I wasn't able to put the graphic in there in the middle, so I put it on the side. My first read, I would have students circle words that they don't know and compose questions that they would like to have clarified. And again, we could use those for discussion techniques, and they'll come up. Great to get insight on the misconceptions that students might have. My second read would be, what is the question we were trying to answer? And this is what they're thinking about as they're rereading it for a second time. How is the problem like another problem I have solved before? Can I think of an approach? And what do you notice or wonder? And we're really inviting thinking versus just saying answers with this second read. And then with your partnered and group discussion, right, as students are talking about it, What do you think about what your peers said? Do you agree or disagree? And why is that true? And as I would modify this one, normally you do this question together and then give another question. I'd actually ask students after all of that to actually attempt to solve it, because after all that discussion, maybe they have an idea of how to do it. And I would incorporate this Marzano template. And this rubric for self-reflection is formative, not summative. So it's not similar to a Regents rubric, right? We're giving a student a perfect score if they're able to do the problem by themselves, giving them a 2 out of 3 if they're able to complete the problem with the help of a friend, a 1 out of 3 if they can partially understand the topic with help, and then a 0 even with help if they're unable to understand the topic. And then let them self-reflect. So this is the document that I'm going to be sharing, and if you click this 3-read protocol sample, you'll have access to the presentation. We have the thank you there. I want to thank you guys for your time. And just one more thing that I want to mention is one of the main benefits that I find to this protocol is how it slows everything down. As teachers, we're so comfortable with the content that we might not catch ourselves speeding up and teaching at a faster pace than is appropriate to students. And with this protocol, it really opens the eyes of us as instructors to see the misconceptions, because they'll come out in the first read and they'll come out in the second read. And sometimes you'll even hear it in the partner group discussion. And that really shines a light on how you're deciding to allocate time in a lesson. And if you're doing this as a review, it'll really highlight the misconceptions students have in the context of the content that you're showing. I really love this routine, and I hope that you will give it a try.